Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
I like that little hair flip you just did right before we turned this.
It's reached a certain critical mass where now it hangs in weird ways. It's like long enough that it does new stuff.
I've been watching the Ben Orenstein mane grow as pandemic has gone on, and it seems to be now falling down.
It likes to go out, and then I think it's now reached enough. It's gotten heavy enough that it's like going out, but then collapsing. Can't support itself. I kind of like having weirdly long hair right now. It's like I haven't done this experiment in a long time. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, you can pull it off, I think.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Alone in my apartment, I'm pulling it off real well.
Yeah. Rocking it with your empty apartment.
Yes, exactly. How's it going?
I'm doing well. Yeah, had a pretty good week. Another fast week, but
this was fast for me as well.
Yeah. But I think I made some good progress this week, so I'm feeling good. I'm in a good mental space. Yeah.
Well, it's like the hip, new, cool newcomer startup kid on the block. How's your week been? You should go first. You have all the cool, fun stuff happening.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I officially started dog fooding this week. I crossed that milestone, I think 2 weeks ago maybe, but didn't have a specific occasion to share a booking link. And so I kind of was holding off on like officially locking in the database configuration and, making it so I can't just nuke stuff anymore. I had needed to schedule a time with someone and sent them a Mighty Cow link, and they booked it and it all worked. And
nice.
So, yeah.
The product it's alive. It's in the wild.
It's in the wild. Yeah. That was
cool.
That was a cool, it was just a cool moment. Like I kind of sat back and reflected on this. Like, I just sent someone a link for the first time. And it's getting real now.
That's cool. Your appointments booked metric is at 1.
Yeah.
You're on the board.
Yep, exactly.
That's cool. That's the hardest one.
Yeah.
That's the first one.
Right. And it was like, went off without a hitch. So yeah, I'm stoked about that. And still continuing to chip away at the kind of punch list that I had. I think as of yesterday, I was like 92% complete according to my issue tracker. So quickly running out of excuses to not start onboarding some actual people. Right now, kind of the two pieces that I need. Well, Zoom integration is coming very quickly because most people need it. Like most people in my early access tribe really want to be able to automatically spin up a Zoom meeting. And I think some people might be okay with just like pasting in their personal Zoom link in a private field or whatever, since like Zoom has passwords now or whatever. But in general, like most people kind of just want that automatically spin up a unique room link when an event's booked. So yeah, last night I started digging into did a little off hours on this. I don't want to get too deviated from like the track of like actually onboarding people who don't need Zoom, but at the same time I want to I'd like to knock this out really quickly if possible. So started looking into the technical side of it, and I think it's going to be not too hairy. I have to implement an adapter for Zoom for the OAuth thingy in Elixir. So I was like, I was buried deep in like looking at a few different OAuth strategies from other people and merging that with Zoom's documentation. And I was like, got deep into the headspace last night, but it felt good. Like I think I'm making good progress on that. So I might be, working on that this weekend, trying to hammer it out, see how close I can get.
OAuth is definitely a bit of a pain, but also it's so nice that it's a thing that it works.
Yeah.
Just like being able to auth with a different service and have it work well. It's like, oh, it's pretty pleasant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And thankfully, like Zoom, you just never know when you encounter new API docs. Like, is this going to be a terrible mess inspired by, 90s technology? Or are they, I think they're pretty much following like the OAuth spec to a T. So
cool. Yeah, and that's nice. I've usually found like there's some upfront work for OAuth, and after that it tends to just work. And I remember it's like it being like a long-term maintenance problem.
Right. Yeah, because these are inherently like extremely stable APIs. Like you can't be innovating and changing stuff with your authentication flow, or else you're going to screw up a lot of people. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So that sounds like a pretty tractable thing to finish.
Yeah, I think so. I would love to start onboarding users next week. My first couple. Yeah.
Nice.
I think I'll get there.
Do you think you'll hit that?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
We recorded some podcast audio this week with Rob. And then I was like, I think it's ready. Like, I should demo this to you and get you on board. I mean, he needs Zoom integration, but he's like eager. So, it's fitting for Rob to be my first.
It is. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Are you planning on? I think you said yes. You're planning on charging people for this, like from the beginning.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Okay. It's like monthly, some sort of monthly cost. Charge a credit card. Sign up through Stripe.
Yep. I think send them manually onboard folks. So make sure like share screen, talk through product, make sure it addresses their needs, and then, send them a Stripe checkout link probably. What you had been encouraging me to consider doing annual, right? And remind me again, like the rationale behind that, like annual versus monthly for early access.
My thought process was you want the people that are most anxious for a solution, that want it really badly.
Got it.
It intentionally sets the bar higher such that it's not like tire kickers who are kind of interested in the Derrick Reimer story from the inside and more like, no, I really do want this. And it also, I feel like it sets the expectation, and we explicitly set this expectation when we were doing it. Like, it's not going to be perfect on day 1 or day 50. And so this is going to be a long-term relationship where you tell me what's not working and we fix it. And it's going to take months to really, blossom into awesome software. So let's make sure that we're agreed that this is the shape of that relationship.
That's a very good point about expectation setting, because I think it would be easy for me to just like think of this as I'm just starting my process of acquiring customers, but I think I can treat this a little bit differently. These are both customers and they are people who are early in, so they have undue influence over product direction and helping suss things out, right?
Yeah. This is like your product mastermind or something.
Yeah.
Like these are essential influencers and, hopefully have good taste and want what you're selling and believe in the dream and are willing to look past your issues and all this stuff. So it's like you're like building an alpha of true believers, like getting the cult started. So if you say, oh, it's monthly and you can cancel whenever you want, it's like, that's not how cults work.
Right. That's not how cults work. Yeah, this is true. They don't generally let you off that easy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, we didn't run into that much resistance from this. Like, I think this checks out for people. People get why this is a thing.
Right.
Like, plenty of folks were like, oh, I'm not going to do that, which, as expected. But like, we weren't trying to recruit plenty of folks. We wanted, a small subset.
Right. You get the temptation of like, on the one hand, you can think of this as, this is early software. Like it doesn't check all of the value boxes that it ultimately will, because it's still under heavy development. And so I think some people are tempted to say like, I'm going to give you a steep discount on this thing because it's not there yet, which is sort of the opposite mindset. And I don't think necessarily helpful at this stage. Like if you're trying to entice people to come in, like you're setting yourself up as like, no, this thing's not very good, and here I'll toss you a discount to get you in now early, right?
Yeah, well, right.
It's bad framing.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's mostly about framing, which is like you're coming on the journey with me, and the journey costs more because it's going to be interesting and it's going to be good for you. Like you're kind of sort of contracting me to build custom software for you. And it takes a while, and it's going to be good for you and good for me, and it's going to be fun. So it costs more than if you are like, it requires more of a commitment than if you were just going to use a thing that's like effectively off the shelf and pretty well shaped.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that. Okay. Good food for thought. Yeah.
Yeah. The way I was thinking about it in the early days too was like, it's not so much about the revenue, because it's not going to be that much revenue, but 10 people that believe in you and are really excited about the direction and give you really good feedback and are willing to tell more people, that's what you want right now, I think. It's not just like 10 more customers to get to the next 10 to get to the next 10. It's like kind of an essential core here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I like it. There was also a very well-timed like Twitter thread that I got mentioned on this week. Yeah. I think it was the perfect kind of question. Like it was just someone asking like, Calendly, it seems so good. Like, and it seems like it makes things so much more efficient, but why does it feel so weird? And then, proceeded to be this really, really long thread. A lot more activity on it than you would maybe expect. Like it's not like it was tweeted out by someone with, 200,000 followers or something. It was just kind of an ordinary thing that spread pretty broadly. and some interesting takes from all directions. Some people, a lot of validation, I felt like, for my hypothesis on how to at least begin tackling the power dynamic issue. So that felt really good, just to hear people that I don't know, probably don't know who I am, probably haven't heard me talk about this, and echoing a similar sentiment of like, yeah, it has to do with kind of, personalization. It has to do with leveling the playing field of the experience, making sure it's just as convenient for both sides instead of and there's subtleties in that, but got quite a bit of, just by surprise, some unbiased, validation of some of my hypotheses. So that
cool.
Really cool.
That's good to see. There is at least some dissatisfaction there, or some there's an interesting thread to pull.
Yeah, right.
When you sent your link to somebody this week, how did you phrase it?
That's good. I think I said something to the effect of like, cool, yeah, let's find a time to meet. I created a link for us to figure this out, and it was personalized, had their name on it, has their picture up at the top.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How did you get their picture? Based on their email, Gravatar or something?
Yep. So if you put in a guest's email address, then it'll attempt to ping Gravatar and get an image for them.
Yeah. I like that. Nice. Yeah, that sounds promising. There's something to that. Like I created a thing for us. It's like I did some work already.
Right.
So do you mind doing a little bit of work yourself to like finish it off? It definitely feels different. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I wonder if it'll be enough. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It's
the great
exciting.
startup unknown.
Right.
Interesting. I was thinking about you yesterday because I was scheduling a call with someone who is like a consultant / vendor. And I was just like, mind grabbing a time with me? And it's just like, I expect that like you're just going to do this because you're going to want to do some work for me. So you're expecting to, sort of manage the process. But if it had been a different person, if the roles had been reversed, I would have been like, how do I phrase this? And how do I do this? And maybe I should just like manually type out sometimes. And my behavior is impacted by this. So I agree that's a thing.
It's such an interesting dynamic. It was something that came up in this thread also where, there were definitely some people who were taking the other side of like, this is not really an issue. Like, I don't have any problems with this. All I do is send people a couple times that work and then fall back to my link. That's fine, but you're still opting to choose a manual route in the name of not offending somebody, which
sure.
I get why that is kind of the best that people have right now, but also like, why are we satisfied with this state of the world? I mean,
sure.
I know it's a little thing, sure. And maybe if you don't book a lot of meetings, like, I don't know, it wastes another couple minutes, like who cares? But in aggregate, it's when you're trying to build up this repetitive process of how to do this. And especially if you need to do a lot of this kind of booking stuff. It's like, why are we okay with this suboptimal route?
It's fair. Plus, if I manually am like providing a couple options, I might not know the person's time zone. So I might be like creating work for them to be like, how about this time or this time in Eastern time? They're like, okay, so what is that for me? That's going to be, and like in the name of respecting the power dynamic, I'm making more work for myself and for them because we haven't found a good way to like solve this directly.
And when someone like proposes 3 times for me, if none of them work for me, I usually feel like, oh man, now I'm being the really inflexible one. Like, it just creates all kinds of like, they've given me some times to work. They're trying to make it convenient for me, but I kind of get a little bit locked in. Like, well, I'm going to try to make one of these work or something around that because they've already expressed this is their preference. And that may not be true. They may just be trying to like, I don't know, I'm just going to pick some random times and give them to you. It's just, yeah.
Okay. So there might be some fertile ground here.
I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll see. Anything else in your world?
That's the gist of it for me. Yeah.
Okay.
What's going on in Tuple?
Various things. Actually, a question for you to sort of lead off. When you were in the early days of Drip, did you do, and you started hiring full-time people, did you do profit sharing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Equity grants to anybody?
No.
Options, anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Did you ever lose somebody that you felt like was like a good candidate because you didn't have those things?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
So you were like, this is not a startup anymore. It's a business. It's functioning. We're looking for employees, not like more partners, basically.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think a big part of our pitch for roles that we were hiring for was like, look, we're a bootstrap startup, so the game is different. Like giving you options in this in this company. We didn't set out to like build a company to sell necessarily. It was like this would not be a good way to reward you. Profit sharing is a different, that's different than options. So that could have been an interesting thing to experiment with. But like, it was kind of like, we are offering you this amount of flexibility, this amount of like interesting work, agency over kind of what you work on. It's a small team. Like, we had all these other kind of benefits that we touted, and even, really early on when we were really scrappy, we couldn't afford to pay, like, someone could probably go work somewhere else and make more money too. And so that was something that we were kind of trying to combat and trying to make up for that with like, look, there's perks of being, having a high degree of influence on a really small team, building a really interesting app. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're trying to figure out all this stuff right now because we're starting to add people to the team, and so I think your approach, that makes sense. I think we probably will end up doing something kind of like profit sharing. I like the idea of like aligning incentives within the company and sharing in the upside and all that. The equity piece is interesting to me. I talked to a friend of mine the other day. I realized through talking to him that I think my brain has maybe been a little bit warped by VC-backed startup land, where it's very normal for a bunch of people in the early days to get some portion of equity in the company.
Mm-hmm.
We're not like a normal VC-backed startup.
Right.
Like, most of these things are not profitable. Like, maybe you don't even have product market fit yet, or like potentially burning huge amounts of money on the path to blow up by default most of the time. As opposed to like, hey, we have actually a bunch of profit. We have product market fit. The core thing is working. We're looking for like amazing people to join the team that are going to have an awesome impact. But at the fundamental level, you are like employees. You're not founders. Like the founding period has passed. The core thesis has kind of been figured out. And now we're executing on a model that exists.
Yep. That's a wise way to look at it because, what would be the incentive? When someone's joining a VC-backed startup, you're basically saying like, I'm hopping on this high-risk endeavor, and we're all sharing in the risk and the reward and the potential upside from it. And that's just, the equation is just completely different for Tuple,
Yep. Right. I think also the VC-backed companies will sometimes use that equity as a way to like lower salaries, right?
Right.
It's like a way to kind of lower your effective cost to the employee, because you can kind of give away stock without any direct cost to you, sort of, and it's just fine. Whereas that's not our strategy. We're not going to do that. Salary-wise, we want to pay great salaries. I realized, I was like, where is this model coming from in my head that like there's going to be lots of equity sprayed out in the early days, just like that's just how it's done. And I was like, oh wait, I'm thinking of like, and like I had numbers in my head, and I'm like, doesn't like the first person get this, and then like the next person get this, and I was like, oh wait, hold on. I think I read this in like a Paul Graham essay about Y Combinator companies. And it's like, okay, that's certainly a way to do it, but that's not who we are.
Yeah. I think profit sharing is not necessarily a bad way to go. And like that, a lot of bootstrap companies have experimented with that. I think one thing to be careful with is like, if incentives are heavily centered on money and not kind of the other benefits of working for a small team like Tuple, then like, I don't know, you could end up with a little bit of misalignment of why someone's there, I guess.
Totally. Yep. There's a book, I think it's called Drive. I need to read about this, like the research about like what actually motivates people, because I remember from reading summaries of books like this, it's like, it's not really about money for most people. Like, it doesn't actually work that well as an incentive. I think there's probably some value in aligning the incentives, because people tend to be driven by incentives, and like their behavior will be shaped by that. But in terms of, I don't think it's like we'll take someone who's not going to be happy at Tuple and be like, well, I'm getting a lot of profit sharing, so
right,
I'll stay here. I think that's unlikely to be satisfying to people in a deep way.
Like, if given two technology jobs that are paying basically market rate for their skills, what's going to be the factor that tips them over to pick Tuple? And I think you don't want it to be, well, they're kicking me a little extra profit sharing, so I'll pick Tuple. You want it to be, that motivation to come from somewhere else.
I agree with that. Yeah. I also realized this like kind of flaw in my thinking, where I was imagining like, okay, well, if we dedicate a percentage of profits to profit sharing, and then we hire somebody, and then like the amount of profit that each person is getting goes down, how do we fix that? And I was like, no, that's actually not a bug.
Right.
That's a feature. Like, there's a cost to adding a person.
Yeah.
And by aligning our incentives, we have made that cost apparent to everybody on the team.
Yeah, there's a cost to ownership, and there's a cost to people sharing the owners, the partners, and the people sharing in the profit. I mean, when you hire someone, there's an extra chunk you can't take out as an owner draw, So
yeah, exactly. So everyone that is interested in the profits of the business is affected by hiring someone into the business. And so profit goes down when you hire the person, at least immediately, hopefully not forever. And so it being reflected in, hey, we have less profit sharing because we added somebody to the team, is like, actually that's how it's supposed to work. That's like, actually, that's good. I think it makes it like, it's like, it brings the trade-off into people's minds and like makes it clearer. It's like, okay, well, profits are down this quarter because we added this person, but look how awesome they are. Or, profits are down, but they don't seem that awesome. Like, was this really a good choice? Like, are they having a big impact on the business? So, I feel like I had two realizations yesterday. So,
I do like the idea. I've read about this from various case studies and stuff. I think Netflix is one example of being very transparent about the business fundamentals with like all of the employees, and would regularly have like meetings where they would talk about like, this is what our financial performance has been, and they can talk freely about that because everyone kind of has skin in the game in one form or another, and it's like everybody's driving towards this goal of like, we need to build this into a really healthy business, and these are the metrics that our investors care about, these are the metrics that our management cares about, and this is what we're optimizing for. And like, just being very upfront about like, yeah, we're here to build an awesome company. And I like that. I like that way of thinking of like, as opposed to like shielding people from the business side of things and just like saying, no, you just come in and do your you do your individual contributor job, and like you do that well, and you don't have to worry about the business side. I kind of like the idea of like getting people more aligned around like, nope, I'm the CEO, and these are the things I'm thinking about, and I feel like you should know too. This is what I'm driving towards.
Yep, I agree. That seems smart to me.
Yeah.
You touched on this, but sort of sharing numbers. Do you have any thoughts on like a default stance on that? Like how open to be with like all the revenue and all the stats like that? Do you think should just share everything with everybody that's on the team?
Yeah, if I recall, for most of our earlier years at least, like the metrics were all shared at Drip. It was in our admin panel. We had like kind of a custom built bare metrics because at the time we weren't using Stripe subscription, so we had to come up with our own calculations for SaaS metrics, and it was just all there. And so I guess that was deliberate. I don't know. I would be curious to talk to Rob about that on his thinking. And then at lead pages to post acquisition, we would talk about numbers. We talk about financial performance of the business. So I think it's probably worth doing, but yeah, I'd be interested to hear other perspectives on it for sure, because I don't feel like I know totally what the right move is.
Yeah. I bet there's not so much right versus wrong as, just different pros and cons.
Yeah.
So interesting stuff to figure out. Mm-hmm. It's just an endless pile of problems / challenges / things to decide on.
It's easy to get into decision fatigue a little bit too, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely is. Yeah, I feel like I'm juggling like 4 or 5 discrete, like, let's make a decision about X processes right now. And I'm trying to do them in parallel, and it's a little rough.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to flop over and say, like, can someone just make the call for me on these 4 things? I won't focus on this one problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I commented the other day, like, some of the stuff is type 1 decisions, where it's like the kind you can't undo if you decide you made the wrong choice. So those ones are like worth going slow and thinking about and paying a lot of attention to. Some of the other ones, you can make faster calls on. But we have a mix right now.
It's that Basecamp analogy of pouring cement, right? It's like sometimes you're pouring cement, other times you're just putting something up that's temporary or changeable. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So, yeah, interesting day is happening right now.
Yeah. Are you feeling? I mean, what's your mental state? Are you feeling stressed? Are you feeling pretty like just feel out of control? Are you pushed in the right, like to the right limit?
I am stressed. Yeah, I would say I'm like doing a middling job of like managing my mental state. There are certain inputs into this that I know have like good impact or bad impact, and I would say I'm doing like I'd give myself like a 6 out of 10, but it's trending up. So I tend to like cycle, I guess, and I feel like I'm on the upswing now, where I'm like getting more exercise and like eating better food and like trying to be more diligent about sleeping when I should, and I feel good. And I also just had my first coaching call this week, so
oh yeah,
I now have an ally in this battle.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you set up kind of a cadence with this person? Like,
Yeah, we're talking weekly for now.
okay.
This is our first call, and it was kind of like a getting to know you, lay the groundwork, talk about broad strokes kind of thing. So nothing huge to report yet, but it's like, oh, it's nice if there's someone out there who is like going to help me achieve some of these things that I'm hoping to do. So yeah, and then having the call with like my friend yesterday was like, oh man, it's having smart, savvy, experienced operators that you can like do a phone call with about a topic. So huge. I think I actually don't talk about this maybe, or like thank people enough or acknowledge this enough in the world, that like the friendships I've made through like MicroConf and Twitter and just giving talks and building an audience and whatever, and this podcast have been super helpful to me. Having advisors that have various kinds of experience and who I can trust and are smart has really helped a bunch of different cases.
Yeah, doing this stuff in a vacuum is pretty impossible and really hard if you don't just embrace that, like, look, I'm going to potentially look like I don't have it all figured out to a lot of people. That's something I'm trying to get more and more comfortable with, because I can sometimes hesitate to try to lean on someone for advice, because it's like, well, I feel like I should already have this figured out. So like, do I want to expose myself as like someone who doesn't know what they're doing? But at the end of the day, none of us really have much figured out. We have some ideas and other people have wisdom, and we should be marrying those two together as often as possible.
Yeah. And it's hard to get that many reps at this too, right? Like you can't create like 100 businesses probably.
No.
So you're not going to like have so many data points that you're like, okay, I've done all the different things to do on this. And so I have this extremely well-considered opinion here. So you sort of have to use other people's experience, I think, to build anything close to that level of knowledge.
There are very few Jason Cohens in this world, and like those types of people who like really have like good mental frameworks that I feel like they can really look at your business and apply wisdom, even though like, I mean, he's had a finite number of businesses himself, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, like he's I think created at least $4 million plus businesses, and then also like was an advisor for Capital Factory. So I was helping other companies get off the ground. So he's had a lot of opportunities for pattern matching and such. But most people don't have that level. But fortunately, you can ask Jason Cohen things.
Exactly.
Answers.
Yep, totally.
He's a nice, helpful guy.
Yep.
Another thought I've been thinking is like, I want to get more of my calls on set days of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to have more standing meetings, one-on-ones and coaching calls and whatnot. I also record a podcast every week.
Yep.
So I do kind of want to talk to you about maybe moving the recording day again.
Okay. All right.
But we'll see. Yeah. Or maybe I need to like change. Yeah, we'll see. We'll talk about it offline.
Totally.
Offline, as they say.
Yep.
I think that's another thing that will help with my productivity and just craziness is like, if I have a day and it's all calls, that's fine. If I have a day and it's half calls, it's like kind of like not having a day.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah, you know this story.
Totally. What do you do today? Do you do like a lot of time blocking? Like, do you say like this, you know, from this time to this time, I'm going to work on this specific area of the business or this specific task? Like, what does your kind of planning ahead strategy look like right now for a week, I guess?
It's basically week by week right now. Like at the beginning of the week, I try to like write down like, okay, I should try to do these 5 or 6 things. We have a Basecamp going. Sometimes I'll like post them in Basecamp. Be like, here are my weekly, like it has like that kind of automated, what are you gonna do this week goals? And then it's like, as the week goes on, I'm like, am I tracking? Am I getting closer? Like, are these things happening? Inevitably, other stuff comes up. This week, I had like a brand new sort of emergency thing that happened. And it's like, ooh, this is 100% the first priority now. Drop everything else, which is just classic hashtag startup life.
Totally.
So it's sometimes the map is not the territory, but I do have a little bit of a sense where I think I could be thinking more about, all right, if I got these 3 things done this quarter, that's a success. And just make sure like every day there's some sort of like progress towards those things. I do feel like a little bit like I might be losing the big picture goals for the sort of day-to-day stuff that's coming up and figuring things out. And like we're still churning through stuff. We're doing things. I'm getting things done and like tasks are getting accomplished. But come September, I want to be like, okay, in Q3, what happened and was it good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you ever read that book, The One Thing?
Yeah, I did, and I've been thinking about that recently. Actually, I do feel like I have not done that analysis on myself for the business in a while.
I like the 3s. You know, what are the top 3 things? And I feel like that's kind of a fractal concept. Like you can talk about that in the scope of a day, in the scope of a week, in the scope of a quarter, right? But then, yeah, it's interesting like that book where he was kind of like, author's thesis is like, no, there's one thing. What's the one thing?
Like, what's the one thing if you accomplish would be everything would be easier or unnecessary or something like that? It's like, okay, well, that's interesting. And if you started it, what's the one thing for this year? And then, okay, what does that mean? The one thing is this quarter. What does that mean? The one thing is this week. That sounds worth doing, even if I do more than one thing, which of course you're going to do. But knowing my one thing right off the top of my head sounds like an important strategic consideration.
Yeah, and a good, like, I don't know, it's like we're always just playing mind games with ourselves, like trying to figure out how to make it so that we don't feel like we're behind the 8 ball or failing. And a lot of that is just convincing ourselves that, like, we are finite, our time is finite, we're doing our best, and it's never going to, like, I was just remarking this to someone the other day talking about like the speed of development, and I said the words like, well, it's never fast enough for me, I'm never going to be satisfied. And it's like, that's not a healthy perspective to have. It's recognizing a fault in myself that, like, that's my inclination, and it's what I'm having to fight back against all the time, lest I just be in a constant state of disappointment and stress because it's not going fast enough.
Yeah. Going back to mindset shifts, I was talking to this friend and I told him, like, I kind of feel like I'm failing. And I think I have like several very disparate areas of the business that I think should be being worked on. We have like hiring and also product management, but also marketing. And it's like, okay, so like those are departments, in real companies, in larger companies that, could have hundreds of people in each of them. And I'm like, I am not crushing any of those. And so I feel like guilty about all of them, basically. And I was saying, like, it's time for me, I think, to shift away from the, like, okay, the thing I should be doing then is like work on all those things, like be more diligent, be more productive, get more done over here, and then also get more done over here. And it's like, oh, no, actually, no, you've changed to the new phase where it's like you have to figure out how to get more done in the business without putting more time into it, or without it coming from you directly. Maybe you need to automate things or hire or, find ways to delegate differently or something. But the answer, I think, is less and less. Just figure it out, dude. Like keep just add it to the to-do list and make that priority higher than that priority. And it's like, I actually don't, I can't do 3 major functions that well. I can do each of them part-time at best. And like, am I world-class at some of these things? Like, could we find someone world-class? Yeah, probably. So
yeah. And you have a responsibility to the business to not burn yourself out. Like that's one of your fiduciary responsibilities is like, don't completely waste the Ben resource. Like there's high leverage areas for you to be focusing on, and like, getting yourself out of the loop of trying to be the one to chip off these to-dos is not the best use of your time, and will burn you out if you try to do that for too long,
Right, exactly. The good news, my friend pointed out, is like once you make the shift of like, I'm going to do the work, and if more work needs to be done, I have to do the work, I'll do the additional work, to how do I get that work done without doing it myself? That's like kind of the last shift. Like you make that shift into it, and now that's just the new way of operating kind of forever. And you're building, maybe as we grow, like more complicated structures, and it's different to run a company of 50 people than 10 people, of course. But the basic process of like, what should the company be doing? How do we get that done? Who can we plug into here? Or what structures can we create? That's the work maybe forever.
Yeah. Once you stop trying to, force yourself to do those things, you start thinking in that mindset for all your team members too. So like, you're like, well, I can't just, shove this to Spencer and Joel. Like they have their areas that they need to focus on. So now like I need to figure out how to like, that was something I always remember when we would talk about hiring, he'd always say like, well, I know you can do this. I know that, but like, is that the best use of your time? Like we have you focusing on this part. So therefore I need to go hire someone to do this thing, and
totally. Yeah. That's really good. And like, I think that's part of my guilt is like, I know I can do these things. Like I have ideas and like skills and whatnot in a bunch of these areas, but that doesn't mean that I should do them.
Yeah.
But man, it has been a little rough, honestly. It feels like a bit of a trap where it's like the business is doing well, which means there's more to do or more opportunity, which means, and like the more opportunity not being taken advantage of makes me feel bad. And so it's almost like as the business succeeds more, I feel worse.
The more aware you become of what it could be doing. And
Right. And like the more we succeed, the more I feel like I'm failing, basically. It's like there's all these tasks, there's all these things. I'm only getting I'm getting a smaller portion done of all the things that seem worthy of doing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, crap.
What a funny paradox, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't feel funny in the moment.
Right. No,
I know. But yeah.
just to say it is just you have to laugh a little bit. But yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know the feeling. It doesn't feel good.
It was like you would think like when we were at like 10K MRR or something, we'd be like, it would be sadder or like more stressful or like feel like, oh man, we really got to. But like it felt great. We were having a great time. I remember feel like I think I was way more relaxed and had a sense of like, yeah, there's plenty to do, but we'll figure it out. And now it's more like, okay, this is rapidly increasing in complexity and scale. Even though the revenue keeps going the right way and things are good, the indicators are positive. It's like I feel like I'm screwing up way more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, this will be great stuff to talk through and figure out in the weeks to come, months, years.
Yep.
Glad we have this podcast to talk about it.
Me too. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Notes of the show?
Notes for the show can be found at artofproductpodcast.com.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.